today we would like to present our assignment ECO120. The country that we choose is Japan. So what is inflation? Inflation is a gradual loss of purchasing power reflected in a broad rise in price for goods and service over time. The inflation rate is calculated as the average price increase of a basket of selected goods and service over 1 year. High inflation means that prices are increasing quickly, with low inflation meaning that prices are increasing more slowly. Inflation can be contrasted with deflation, which occur when prices decline and purchasing power increase. Inflation aims to measure the overall impact of price changes for a diversified set of product and service. It allows for a single value representation of the increase in the price level of goods and service in an economy over a specified time.
So this is the background info. Japan is an island country in the East Asia, located in the Pacific Ocean of the northeast coast of the Asian mainland. It is bordered on the west by the Sea of Japan and extends from the Sea of Okhotsk in the north to the East China Sea in the south. The Japanese archipelago consists of 4 major islands, that is Hokkaido, Honshu, Shikoku and Kyushu, and thousands of smaller islands covering around 380,000 square kilometers, 150,000 square meters, with a population of more than 125 million as of 2020. Japan is the 11th most populous country. Tokyo is its capital and largest city. Next, Japan is divided into 47 administrative prefectures and 8 traditional regions. About 3/4 of the country's terrain is mountainous and heavily forested, concentrating its agriculture and highly urbanized population along its eastern coastal plains. Greater Tokyo is the world's most populous metropolitan area with more than 38 million inhabitants as of 2016. Part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, Japan's islands are prone to destructive earthquakes and tsunamis.
After that, the first known habitation of the archipelago dates to the Japanese Paleolithic, circa 30,000 before century. Between the 4th and 6th century, its kingdoms were united under an emperor in Nara and later Heian-kyo. From the 12th century, actual power was held by military dictators, that is called shogun, and feudal lords, daimyo, and enforced by warrior nobility, samurai. After rule by Kamakura and Ashikaga shogunates and a century of warring states, Japan was united in the year 1600 by the Tokugawa shogunates, which implemented an isolationist foreign policy. In 1853, a United States fleet forced Japan to open trade to the west, which led to the end of the shogunate and the restoration of imperial power in 1868. In the Meiji period, the Empire of Japan pursued rapid industrialization and modernization, as well as militarism and overseas colonization. In 1937, Japan invaded China, and in 1941 attacked the United States and European colonial powers, entering World War II as an Axis power. After suffering defeat in the Pacific War and 2 atomic bombings, Japan surrendered in 1945 and came under Allied occupation. After the war, the country underwent rapid economic growth, although its economy has stagnated since 1990.
So the issue and trend that happened in Japan, number 1, deflationary period. Japan has been dealing with deflation, a decrease in the general price level of goods and service since the 1990 after the burst of the asset price bubble. This prolonged deflation has led to stagnant economic growth and has been difficult to overcome. Number 2, economic. In 2012, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe introduced a series of economic policies designed to combat deflation and stimulate growth. These policies include aggressive monetary easing by the Bank of Japan, fiscal policy, and structural reform. The goal was to achieve a 2% inflation target, but success has been limited. Number 3, recent inflationary pressure. In the past couple of years, Japan has started to experience some inflationary pressure due to global supply chain disruption, rising energy price, and the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, inflation in Japan remains relatively low compared to other major economies. Number 4, aging population. Japan rapidly aging population and declining birth rate pose significant challenges. A shrinking workforce and increasing pension and healthcare costs put pressure on public finance and can limit economic growth, making it harder to achieve sustained inflation. Number 5, wage stagnation. Wage growth in Japan has been sluggish, which affects consumer spending and inflation. Despite low unemployment rate, companies have been reluctant to raise wage significantly, leading to weak domestic demand. Number 6, structural rigidities. Japan's economy faces structural rigidities such as inflexible labor market and regulation that can stifle innovation and productivity. This issue hinder economic dynamism and make it difficult to achieve consistent inflation. Number 7, monetary policy limitations. The Bank of Japan has maintained a very loose monetary policy, including negative interest rate and massive asset purchases. Despite this effort, achieving the 2% inflation target has been elusive, raising questions about the effectiveness of this measure. Number 8, global economic uncertainties. The Japan economy is heavily influenced by global economic conditions. Trade tension, geopolitical risks, and change in global economic policies can impact Japan inflation and economic stability. The last one, energy prices. Japan is heavily reliant on imported energy, particularly after the Fukushima nuclear disaster led to a reduction in nuclear energy use. Fluctuation in global energy price can significantly impact inflation in Japan. Next is the effect of inflation towards Japan. Number 1, economic growth. Moderate inflation can serve as a catalyst for economic growth by encouraging both consumer spending and business investment. When prices are anticipated to rise, consumers and companies are more likely to make purchase and investment sooner rather than later. This behavior stimulates economic activity as it creates a sense of urgency to buy goods and invest before prices climb further. Additionally, inflation can reduce the real value of debt, easing the repayment burden for business and consumer alike. This elevation of the pressure encourages borrowing, which can further stimulate the economy. Thus, the moderate inflation fosters an environment conducive to growth by driving consumption and investment. Number 2, wage and employment. Inflation effect on wage and employment is another critical aspect to consider. Moderate inflation often results in wage increase as workers seek higher pay to match the rising cost of living. This adjustment helps maintain their purchasing power. However, if wage do not increase proportionately to inflation, real income decline, leading to reduced purchasing power and potentially decreased consumer spending. The overall impact on employment varies. Moderate inflation can boost employment by increasing demand for goods and services, thereby necessitating more labor. On the other hand, high inflation can create economic uncertainty, prompting business to reduce hiring and potentially leading to higher unemployment rate. The balance between these outcomes depends on the inflation rate and the responsiveness of wage and employment policies. Number 3, international competitiveness. Inflation can impact in Japan international competitiveness in several ways. If domestic inflation rises faster than that of its trading partner, Japanese goods and services may become relatively more expensive on the global market. This could lead to a decrease in export demand, negatively affecting the country's trade balance. Conversely, if inflation is managed well and remain moderate, it could help stabilize the yen's value, supporting export competitiveness. The balance between domestic price stability and international price competitiveness is crucial for maintaining Japan's position in the global economy. So the last one is long-term economic health and inflation dynamic. The long-term health of Japan economy is intricately linked to inflation dynamics. Consistent moderate inflation can signify a healthy, growing economy, boosting business and consumer confidence. Moderate inflation encourages spending and investment, which are critical for sustaining economic growth. However, high or unpredictable inflation can create uncertainty, negatively impacting long-term economic planning and stability. Japan's historical pattern with deflation means any shift towards sustained inflation represents a significant change, requiring careful management to avoid economic instability. Policymakers must balance promoting growth and controlling inflation to ensure long-term economic stability. So here are the data inflation in 10 years in Japan in diagram and table.
Next is explain how to solve the problem of inflation using monetary policy. Monetary policy. Monetary policy is a policy that employs the central bank's control of the supply of money as a tool to achieve macroeconomic goals. Monetary policy is classified into two categories, which are expansionary monetary policy and contractionary monetary policy. The goal of expansionary monetary policy is to raise the economic money supply. This policy is used to control unemployment and during recession. Following that, a contractionary monetary policy is applied to minimize the money supply in the economy. This policy is used to keep inflation under control. According to what Japan is facing, which is deflation and unemployment, the Japanese government should undertake an expansionary monetary policy to address this problem by applying the following instruments. First, open market operation. The central bank should put short-term bonds, government security, or treasury bill in the open market for the public to increase money supply. Therefore, purchase of security would lead to increase in money supply. Then it will also boost the purchasing power of consumer and firms. Then, consumption and investment also will rise. As consequence, aggregate demand and production will increase and unemployment can be controlled. To summarize, Japan's economy can endure deflation. Legal reserve requirement. In unemployment, the central bank should lower the required reserve of all the commercial banks. It is because they want to raise cash resources of commercial bank. This will increase the ability of commercial bank to provide loans. This action can increase money to supply to stimulate for the growth of economy. The effect are they can reduce unemployment rates, and the rise in growth of economy also will make Japan is out of the deflation pace. Third, bank or discount rate. The central bank should lower the discount rate so that it will make the loan less costly to borrow money, and it will be encourage people to borrow for their spending. Low discount rate, so more people will borrow money, and as the result, firm will increase the investment. If the firm of the industry increase the investment, of course they have to add more employees to the firm, and it will be reduce the rate unemployment in the country. Lastly, interest rate. The central bank may persuade commercial bank to reduce the interest rate on the deposit, so encourage the public to spend. When the interest is low, people will save money less because they did not get a lot of benefit. If they save less, they will spend more of their money for goods and services. This will increase the aggregate of demand and the producing of the country. Moreover, it will decrease circle unemployment.
This part for quantitative tightening. Quantitative tightening involves the central bank reducing its holding of longer-term securities, reversing previous policy of quantitative easing, reducing the central bank balance, decreasing the money supply, and raises long-term interest rate. The further tightens monetary condition, encouraging borrowing and spending, and thereby reducing inflationary pressures. Quantitative tightening needs to be carefully managed to avoid adverse effect on financial market and the broader economies. Okay, this part for forward guidance. Forward guidance refer to the central bank communication of future policy intention to influence economic expectation and behaviors by signaling future interest rates, hikes, or other tightening measures. The central bank can shape the expectation and behaviors of investors, business, and consumers. Effective forward guidance help manage inflation expectation, making HB policy change more effective. Clear and transparent communication is crucial to ensure the test signals are understood and influential economic behaviors as intended. Balancing goal. Balancing the goal of reducing inflation with the need to maintain economic growth and employment is critical. Over tightening can lead to economic stagnation or recession, while under tightening can fail to control inflation effectively. Clear communication with the public and financial market is essential to ensure the monetary policy changes are well understood and that they influence expectation and behaviors effectively.